Before we dive into today's episode, a quick heads up that on November 20th, I am leading a brand new 10-day live course called Becoming Love. And it's all about how to bring the heart of the world's wisdom teachings right into your relationships with others. Because let's be honest, no matter how much personal and spiritual growth we've done, relationships are usually where we get the most stuck, where we struggle, we get triggered, reactive, we play out old relational patterns. So over the past 20 years of teaching many retreats and courses and doing coaching with people, the question that I get asked the most in the Q&A section is, thank you for these practices, but what do I do about this conflict with somebody? How do I relate to somebody that I'm struggling with at the moment? So this course is my answer. I've distilled the 10 most transformational practices that I've discovered over 2 decades of teaching. These are the tools I use in my own life and the ones that I have coached thousands of people to use over the years. Each day of this course, you'll get a 15-minute video practice, plus I'm going to be on calls live for 60 minutes every single day of the 10 days for Q&A, for maximum support. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Right now, there's an early bird offer for the course. It's just $110 this course, which is less than the cost of a single therapy or couples counseling session for the 10 tools that you can use to transform your relationships for the rest of your life. Hey, and welcome to the Deep Resilience Podcast. I'm your host, Melly O'Brien, and in this podcast, along with my weekly newsletter and the Deep Resilience program, we are focusing on one clear goal: translating the best evidence-based tools and the deep wisdom teachings on mental resilience into practical everyday strategies that are accessible to everyone. It is my deep passion to bring you content that breaks down big concepts in ways that make sense to you, but also to make sure I give you tools in each episode that you can immediately use to grow your inner strength and create real positive change in your life and in the world. And hey, if you want to take your inner strength to the next level, be sure to join my newsletter at mellyobrien.com, where you'll receive a whole range of extra benefits, special offers, and bonuses. Let's dive in now to today's episode. Hey, my friends. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're flourishing. I hope you're safe and happy and well. So today I am going to be offering you a practice to reduce conflict in your life. And this is something that's so alive in my own mind and heart and practice at the moment. And I know it's alive in the hearts and the minds and the lives of many people that I work with, because this has to be probably the most common question that comes up in my coaching and live work with people, whether it's at a live retreat or it's on one of our online live events or at personal coaching. I might be teaching about some aspect of mindful living that's completely unrelated to this directly, but almost every single time there will be a moment where somebody will say, yes, thank you for these practices. I feel so much more peaceful, so much more easeful, so much more empowered. But how do I handle conflict with other people? How do I work with this? So what I want to offer you today is the most important step to me personally when I am in some kind of conflict situation, whether it's starting to arise in me, because that's where a lot of conflicts can start from our side, and then we, relate to another person, or it can happen the other way around. But either way, there is one step we can take that can make all the difference in how that interaction goes and how much we are able to maintain presence, clarity, wisdom and skill within and without in the face of conflict. So that's what I'm going to be sharing in this episode. One simple method for reducing conflict in your life, both within and without. So to start off with, I want to invite you into a bit of a reflection here about the causes of conflict in us. Because from a mindfulness perspective, from a conscious living perspective, this is where things are really interesting. Because we can have a difficult interaction with someone and not have any conflict or inner turmoil going on within us. So let's just explore this a little deeply. So the causes of conflict, okay, let's play an experiment here. I want you to imagine for a second somebody pulls out in traffic in front of you suddenly. Just imagine yourself in that scenario. What do you feel in that moment? What do you say to yourself mentally? How do you react? Okay, now let's say that you're in a long line somewhere. You've been waiting and waiting to get to the front of this line, and then you see somebody walk to the front of the line and straight up to the cashier. What goes through your mind right away in that moment? What do you feel in your body? Another situation. Imagine yourself, you're meeting your partner or a good friend for dinner. They're 10 minutes late. No phone call. You're sitting there at the cafe. The time keeps ticking. Now it's 20 minutes waiting. What comes up for you? What do you say to yourself? What do you feel in your body? So for most of us, the knee-jerk response to these situations is that our mind is going to tip into anger, resentment, or annoyance towards that other person. Okay, so and this is just the way the human mind is wired. So the human mind is wired in such a way that we will fairly quickly find that it will go from feeling a little bit hurt, put out, or threatened in some way. Quickly from there, it will tip into anger and blame and resentment. It happens almost automatically. So, this is not personal. It's not just you. It's every single human being with a normal functioning human mind, or ego, if you want to call it ego. So here what we can observe in the spirit of living more conscious lives is like sometimes all it takes is for somebody to like forget to take the garbage out, or they say just a few clumsy words. And in that moment, we get that like first pang of an unpleasant feeling, right? Whether it's hurt or disappointment. And then almost instantly, the mind will tip into anger. So this is the mechanism for turning this into a kind of spiritual practice for ourselves. We want to find out how this process can get us stuck, kind of losing presence, losing that mindful, steady awareness, and contracting down and getting stuck and fused in patterns that don't help us. Okay, so this is what we're examining here, and I'm right there. I'm right here with you in this practice. Okay, so here's how that initial pang of disappointment or threat can get us stuck in a kind of loop of anger or resentment, and then how it can escalate into conflict. Okay, so what we don't often notice is how after that initial moment of the unpleasant feeling, the mind's response to that, or the ego's response to that, is that it will quickly turn that initial unpleasant feeling into a story in our head. And then that story in our head will fan the flames of anger. And then we can get caught in a loop here, and then this anger will keep looping and looping. The mind will tell us more stories that make us feel more anger. That anger will then make us think even more stories, and it just escalates and escalates. We're fanning the flames of anger inside of us, and hurt and resentment and bitterness, and it can just escalate all the way into conflict. So, for instance, let's just break this down. After the initial moment that you see the garbage wasn't taken out and you feel a bit of disappointment, then the mind will very quickly start to tell you a story about it. Oh, this person is so selfish. They don't care about anyone but themselves. I told them to put the garbage out. I feel like I have to do everything myself. Like, nobody gives a crap except for me. Like, they're all lazy. Okay, so that inner narrative is now going to breed anger and resentment and blame. And you're likely to communicate with the other person in a way that reflects that, right? You're going to come at them with a lot of blame, a lot of anger. And, potentially if that person has a fairly typical response, they'll go into a defensive pattern. Pretty easy to end up in a fight. But you see how the conflict starts in us when the mind takes that initial moment, turns it into a story, and that fans the flames of anger. This kind of thing, it happens in romantic relationships, it happens in friendships, it happens in families, it happens at work, it happens in traffic. We've all been there. It happens with neighbors. So these unconscious reactions that our mind is doing can lead to very long-standing conflicts where people don't talk to each other for years. It can lead to broken families, really big misunderstandings, even toxic workplaces. Taken all the way to the extreme, this can even lead to violence. So here's a spiritual practice, you could say, to overcome this initial tendency towards anger and then escalating into conflict. There's a simple shift that we can do when we notice ourselves in these moments, when the anger, the resentment, the bitterness towards another person is starting to arise, or when we find that energy coming towards us. It's a simple shift from certainty to curiosity. Okay? Our mind will try to deliver us this message that this is how it is. This is what this other person is like. And they don't care. They never do this. I'm always the one. Okay, so stepping out of that tendency to contract down, energetically, when we're in presence, there's this sort of uncontracted, spacious, grounded, peaceful feeling. There's a connection to a deeper source of wisdom within us. When we tip into this kind of egoic pattern, we sort of find that our presence sort of contracts down and gets stuck in those mental, that energy of that mental contraction. I know how it is. This is how it is. So what do we want to do is we want to uncontract. So we're going to switch the energy from certainty to curiosity. Okay, this is how we do it. So when we're feeling put out or hurt or disappointed by another person's actions, which happens from time to time, right? What we do is we assume bad intentions a lot of the time on the other person's part. And the mind tells us that this is the truth, right? They have bad intentions or they're bad people, and it's the truth. So our mind tells us the stories about what an idiot, how rude, how horrible, how terrible this person is, selfish they are. And we go into a kind of victim mindset where we're the victim and they're the bad person. And in that moment, we have this kind of one-up energy, like I am superior, morally superior to you. And we assume a whole bunch of stuff. We assume a whole bunch of stuff about what their actions mean, and we connect and condense down on this story about who we are and who they are, and they're the bad guy and we're the good guy, and that makes us angry. It feels really unfair. So here's how we want to shift that energy, because that is the energy of conflict within, that's also going to probably be very likely to bounce back and create conflict without. So here's how you can switch the focus to being curious. 2 ways. First of all, become curious about what's going on inside of you. Like even right now, when you shift your energy, if I invite you to shift your energy into curiosity, what does that feel like? Like curiosity is naturally present, it's open-minded, and it's undefensive, yeah? So become curious about what's going on inside of you. Curious about where your feelings are coming from. First of all, like if a car just went past you and it felt really close, or it felt a little too assertive, shall we say, just notice that maybe that felt like a little threat, or that there was a disappointment, or a moment where you were actually afraid a little bit. And just notice that that feeling is present right now. You might like to name the feeling. Right now I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling disappointment and anger. And then notice the narrative that your mind is creating about the other person, their character, their intentions, their motivations, all the stuff that your mind is doing. Because when your mind feels threatened, it likes to tip into certainty. Like it just wants to know, it wants to get a grip on what is happening in reality. So it's going to make a whole bunch of snap judgments. We know that this is just how minds operate. This is what the ego does when it feels like there's any kind of threat coming its way. So what is the narrative your mind is making about the other person, their character, their intentions, their motivations, and how that might be also affecting your state of mind? And instead of having the energy that like that all your assumptions are the cold, hard truth, and that you're in a victim role and the other person's in a kind of villain role, just inviting an energy of curiosity instead. I wonder what's happening. Yeah, I wonder what's happening in me. And now the second step is you're going to be curious about what's going on in the other person. Right. Wonder what is happening for the other person. Instead of assuming that you know their motivations, you know their intentions, remind yourself you really don't know. And consider the different possibilities that might be happening for them. For instance, like the next time someone pulls out in front of you in traffic, or forgets to do something that you wanted done, or maybe they agreed to do, or they arrive late, or they make a mistake, just consider the possibilities that might be happening from their side, right? Do some perspective taking. some walking in the other shoes. Like maybe they forgot because they actually have a lot on their mind. Maybe they couldn't do it for reasons they just could not help that day. They might have got distracted. They might be having a really bad day. We all do sometimes. They might have a whole bunch of stuff on that they're dealing with that we don't know about. Maybe they're in a rush for a really good reason. We've all been there. And it's possible, that they did just make a silly mistake, actually. But they didn't mean you any harm. Again, just like we all do sometimes. And maybe, yes, maybe, they were trying to look after their own needs first in ways that are actually really important to them. And you know what? Maybe they just messed up, flat out just messed up. They're not perfect. I think it's so important also to give each other a little bit of grace, right? We also have old patterns that we're still trying not to play out, that we do sometimes. We have conditioning that we didn't choose, that's a result of, our parenting, our culture, our upbringing, stuff we've been through that means we're not always able to show up at our best. Sometimes we just flat out screw up. So the next time someone lets you down, puts you out, says something clumsy, causes some kind of hurt or makes a mistake, and the mind's first instinct is to paint them as a villain and you as a victim in your mind. The mind's first instinct is to cling to certainty and escalate anger. See if you can take a step back from the mind, drop back into presence, slow things down, and shift certainty into curiosity. And see how that inner shift opens up presence again, opens up your connection to a deeper kind of wisdom, a deeper kind of intention for that interaction, a more loving, a more harmonious, a more authentic intention. Yeah. And see how that shift from certainty to curiosity can make a big difference in the quality of your state of mind, and therefore the quality of that interaction and the quality of your life. Okay. Give it a try this week. Anytime you feel any kind of conflict towards another person or coming at you from another person, shift from certainty to curiosity. As you keep shifting your internal energy like that, allowing that curiosity to shift you back into presence, you'll be able to let go of inner conflict, hostility, and anger, and open up more space for understanding, for happiness, and for harmony in your life, both within and without. I really hope this is helpful for you. When it comes to conflict, this is the first vital step. But if you're looking for more support in how to speak what you need to speak really skillfully, if you're looking for more kind of concrete skills around communication, around relationships, you want more support in showing up consciously and kindly and skillfully in the ebb and flow of your relational life, then you might like to come to Becoming Love. It is a 10-day live-led course starting on November 20th. And this is the 10 most transformational skills that I have learned about conscious relationships in my career and in my life. So if that sounds like something that might be helpful for you, just go to the show notes, have a click on Becoming Love to check it all out, or you can just go to mellieobrien.com/becoming-love. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead, my friends. Take care and stay strong. If you know someone who you think might benefit from listening to this episode, share it with them. Sharing it could really help them to feel better and improve the quality of their life. And if you found this episode helpful, remember to subscribe to this podcast so that you can receive more tips on growing your inner strength and keep practicing along with us every week. And if you'd like some more support in becoming mentally, emotionally, and spiritually stronger, come check out the offerings I have to support you on my website at www.mellyobrien.com. As well as coaching and course options, I also have a bunch of free resources for you, including a free Deep Resilience Care Package, which you can begin to use right away to get some immediate relief from stress and suffering, improve your resilience and mental well-being, and help you navigate whatever you're going through with more wisdom, skill, and confidence. You can find the links for all of that in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care and stay strong.